Hello, family. I'm Barber, and I'm a real alcoholic.
Hey, Barber.
I want to welcome everyone to the Atlanta Step Up Society. Change your thinking, change your life, book study. Let's open with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Is the volume on there?
Yeah.
All right, I want to do a kind of like a couple of things different before we go into the book. I want to prepare our minds because we're going to at least make an attempt to start the fourth step tonight. All right, I passed out the paperwork. If you don't have one in your seat, then we can get you one on the way out. All right, that's it. So, first of all, let me tell you a story. Because our motto is change your thinking, change your life. You know, I have studied A Course in Miracles. And it's a book, and it's got a lot of information in it. And this week been about thoughts that run across your mind, you know. And today's lesson particularly was about my meaningless thoughts create my meaningless world.
Wow.
I'm going to say that one more time. My meaningless, on-purpose thoughts, crappy thoughts, creates my unmeaning, crappy life. That makes sense? All right? Now I'm going to tell you a story about something in the Bible. I try to do scripture stuff because it relates to what we do. And I'm not talking about in a secular way. I'm not talking about 5 million years, 4 million years ago, thousands of years ago, 3,000 years ago. I'm talking about bringing it alive now. Because to me, it's not a history book, it's a book about life. So I have to put myself in there if I'm going to get anything out of it. If I put it as a history book, it's in the past, then it don't affect me. That's not how it's supposed to be done. It's the best book on imagination you're ever going to buy. All right? There's a story in the Bible and it talks about Moses. God told Moses, now it's time to cross over and go to the promised land. Because it was in the wilderness. So he instructed Moses, he said, look, what I want you to do is send some spies over across the water and spy out the land. Look for what's good in the land. Is the land good? Is the soil good? Is the vegetation good? What kind of people live over there? Are they strong? Are they weak? Are they fortified cities? You know, bring us back a report. Now see, when I was in the military, I used to be a scout platoon leader and a scout commander. So I know that you go to and you sneak in and you observe the enemy. And what you have to do is write down all the weakness and the strength of the enemy, and then you go back and you have like a debriefing for all the officers and everybody that's in charge before they go to combat. You got to know your enemy. So you don't want to go fight a war and know nothing about your enemy. You want to know more about your enemy than you do yourself. That makes sense? Who want to go there and you got a slingshot and you got a machine gun? That's suicide. So Moses sends these people out and he gives them instructions what to do. I'm going to the thinking. They go over, they get the fruit, they see everything. They saw all the instructions they're supposed to do, they did. So then they come back across, and the same thing we did in the military. They had a debriefing. Told them all about what's going on. They came back and said, you know what? Here's an example of the grapes. The land is full with milk and honey. The vegetation is right. There's cities over there. And everything is good. But here's what they said. They said the people over there are big and strong. Listen to what they said. This is in scriptures. we see ourselves as grasshoppers, and they see us as grasshoppers too. They saw themselves weak as grasshoppers. Numbers 13:30. I see myself as weak as grasshoppers, and the people that looking at me see me like grasshoppers too. How you know what somebody looking at you thinking about you? So one guy stood up and said, you know what, forget all that grasshopper stuff, we can go over here and take this thing because God's with us. And the rest of them said, no, we can't. So y'all know the end of the story. It spread. The weakness, the unfaith, spread all through the tribes. So them people didn't get a chance to go over to the promised land because they saw themselves as weak. Change your thinking, change your life. If you're coming into this book study and you don't think you can do a 4-step, you're a grasshopper. You already defeat yourself. You're not even making an attempt. Can't be a grasshopper. So the grasshopper mentality has to stop now. You want to be that one person that go the extra mile. Remember I told you the extra mile is lonely. But you want to be that one person to finish it. And that's what the book is going to prepare us to today. And I want to say to the world and everybody out there, because by the grace of God and the expansion, because God is expansion, if you're doing the will of God, you're going to see expansion. It's going to expand. His grace will expand. There's people in what? China, where? South America, Great Britain, Australia, Ireland. We keep a chart that's watching this group tonight, and I want to thank them for that. New Zealand. It's not far. It's you know what? I've been to New Zealand. From when I was stationed in Hawaii, we used to go to New Zealand, right? It's about Australia. But I remember one thing. It was full of sheep. A lot of lamb, a lot of sheep. Sheep sausage, sheep hamburger, sheep bacon. It was a lot of sheep. And it was cold. And we used to go over there to train because their winter is like July. It's the opposite. You know, like December. They cold now over there. And we used to go and do winter training in New Zealand. Right? So I just want to thank the people from all over the world. And I'm getting a person replied today. And the person said that she said, or he said, I don't know, you know, because of the, you can't tell because of the name, said that this guy is dead on. They're talking about their book study. They said that, and I want to thank this person too, because they said that I know 100 people in AA. And out of the 100 that I know, none of them don't even bother to read the book. Don't even bother to open and read the book. So that gave me some motivation. That person gave me some motivation to break it down even deeper. That makes sense? So if you don't want to open a book, at least you can listen to it. Do yourself a favor. Stop being a grasshopper and listen to it. Listen to it. All right, we're going to start tonight on page 63. I just want to do a review. We've been talking about running a life on self-will. A life where what we do is we look outside of ourselves for happiness, joy, and satisfaction. We think we can get it through material stuff. We think we can gain or force or wrestle happiness in relationships. We think if we can just make it to church on every Sunday and tithe, we're going to be happy. We think that if we got a lot of money, we're going to be happy. And it's kind of like a problem. Soon as you solve one problem, soon as you get that problem solved, there's another problem. There's another problem. I told y'all the example of me buying a new car. I bought a brand new car. Drove it up in my driveway. As soon as I got the car, signed the paperwork, get to my driveway, I said, hell, I don't want that car. This ain't the one I wanted. But I already signed the paper. I thought the car was going to make me happy. I ain't had it 10 minutes. And I was unhappy. You get a relationship. You think that's going to make you happy? Open this when the person comes and get a little closer, you know. Let me talk about relationships for 1 minute. I know this to be true. I'm going to tell you when you're in a good relationship. When you're lonely and you feel bad and you go to searching. You know, you got your binoculars on and you're searching for a relationship. Maybe do some dating. Then you find that one person. Oh, this is the one. It be always they start out good. Loving. We like the same things. You know, we go and we do all the stuff together. We like the same thing. We're romantic. That lasts about 6 months to a year. Then all hell break out. But since we always looking for happiness, when all hell break out, we want to stop right then and there, and put the binocular back on and start searching again. Yes, sir. But the thing is about relationship is that one that brought all the disturbance in your life, that's the one for you. Because all the romance and stuff is fake. That's not happiness. It's when you got that other person there, and that other person, and we're going to talk about this tonight, that can bring up some disturbance in you. You know what I'm talking about, Charlie? When that person brings up some disturbance in you, you only grow from that tight chest, from that disturbance. Yes. If you push it in, you're going to have resentments. That's where we're going tonight. But if you learn to get behind that energy, this person got you steaming, and you learn how to let that go without joining the disturbance, without joining that negative energy, you learn to let it go, let it pass on by, you stay calm and centered, that's spiritual growth. So that one, am I right? That creates the disturbance is the best one for you. The one that's always sugarcoating everything you do, that's the worst one. You need somebody that, I ain't talking no crazy stuff, you know what I'm trying to say. There's something that bring up something so you can practice spirituality. My wife will say something, and I'll be wanting to do it. I inhale, I relax, and let it pass on by. You know, because every time that happens, it's a tightness in your chest. You feel your heart skip a beat. But that's that energy that you got to let go. You got to practice this. You got to practice this. And that's how you become spiritually sound. You'll never be spiritually connected or spiritually sound. Every time something disturbance comes in your life and you try to attack it, you with the disturbance. You with the jealousy. You with the anger. You in a relationship and you call them. You know these cell phones not no good. You know they not no good. You know the new ones now, the smart ones, overcharging. when you plug them in, they just charge and beep, beep, you know that. And you take it back to the place, they telling you, oh, it's no, it's not. They're no good. You get one of them galaxies that you want to, everybody tell you they ain't no good. So here's the deal. When you hear and she say, my phone on the charger, because I can't use it because it don't charge. It's like charge up full. Mine do that. Take it off. 2 hours later it's on 13%. Mine do that. Then how you get it? I ain't even use it. How you jump sitting over here from 99 to 13? Alright? So she told you my phone don't work. You went down there with her to the place. They told you it do work. But you know it don't work. 7 hours later, you dialing the number and it's going right to voicemail. Right to voicemail. Don't tell me it's not something coming, them thoughts come in your mind.
Yes, sir.
She with somebody else.
Yes, sir.
He with somebody else. They're coming. They're coming.
They're coming. They're coming now. They're coming.
That's the person you need. Because spiritually, you got to learn to say the meaningless thoughts will create a meaningless world. If you don't jump on them thoughts now, you'll be all right. You can let them pass. But if you get on that thought, you run over there, that phone will be on the charger, and she'll be cooking your dinner. and you think she's out cheap.
Yes, sir. You ain't answer that phone.
Get 1,000 of them a month and see if you ain't crazy. And you think you spiritually sound. Respond to 1,000 of them in 1 month. 1,000 situations like that. You way off track. Way off center. I want to thank, you know what, every time, this is a fact. Every time we get ready to go into the 4th step, I don't go out and announce it or something like that. God always bring in 4th-step people. He always bring in help. I don't know why, but it never failed. I ain't seen Neil in a long time. Neil was one of my sponsors. I took Neil through these same steps y'all gonna do tonight. Neil, how many years you got? 15 years.
Wow.
The same stuff, the same papers, aren't they? When we did the 5th step, we used to walk around the gym, or go, I still remember that, 15 years ago, or go to my house to do the 5th step. I figured if I like to work out, you might well meet me at the gym. Right? What about you, mentor? How many years you got?
I have 4 years and 3 something.
How you learning?
I learned through you, 4 step.
Right here. Same thing. So these guys know how to do it. So get their numbers. All right, we're going to get started right now. So I just want to get our mindset. We've been working on living a life on self-centered. And the truth of the fact is, a self-willed life, a life built with me trying to do it with my mind and my logic, the best I ever got out of that is rock bottom situations. That's the best I got. I might come up, but I'm going down and it's going to be deeper than up. I always end up on a rock bottom situation. So it says right here that I had to have God's help. Only way I'm going to get past this stuff is I have to have God's help. And it done told us over and over that God is inside of us. God is inside of me, inside of my consciousness, inside of my mind. To me, God is my wonderful, beautiful imagination. Jesus said the Father and I are one, but the Father is greater than I. What he's really saying is that me, with my senses, my body, my mind, everything I can see, touch, taste, smell, put my hands on, that's me. God is in that too. But in order for God to be greater, it has to operate in my imagination where there is no limits. This body and what I can do has limitations. That makes sense? But what's happening in the spirit world has no limitations. So that means I can join the spirit world and put my life way above being a grasshopper. I don't have to stay a grasshopper. That makes sense? A grasshopper only operating in the senses. What you can see, think, and what you think. Without imagination, that's real limited, ain't it? Without some kind of goals, without some kind of future, wanting to be something bigger than what you are, you operating in self-will. And you limited. Now my thing is, I don't want nobody to be limited. But that's just my wish for everybody. You might not have that same wish. You might be saying, I wish that fool shut up and get to the pages so I can be limited. A lot of people don't want to be nothing. That's okay. But I'm telling you, it's a new shift. It's a new day. You don't have to be like that. You can dream and become what you want to be. Right, Neil? Right, Mentor? You can. You can. And that's what we teach. All right, let's go to the top of page 63.
When we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. We had a new employer. Being all-powerful, he provided what we needed if we kept close to him and performed his work well. Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves, our own little plans and designs. More and more we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life as we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, as we became conscious of his presence. We began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or hereafter. We were reborn.
All right, here's the deal. When we sincerely took such a position, what we're talking about is a position that God, I'm going to allow God to control my life. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to stop doing and thinking and believing in what I believed in before, and now I'm going to make a shift. I'm going to allow you people to help me to recover. That makes sense? And I know early in the game, I didn't really have a concept of what God really was, because I was taught all my life to look in the clouds and look out in the sky for God, and then something gonna happen, and if I don't really get that connection, I'm doomed to go to hell for the rest of my life. So I was always on the hell side. You know, I was already doomed. So I stopped looking up in the sky. Didn't make no sense, because I knew where I was going. Then I came in here and y'all taught me differently. Y'all taught me God's inside of me. Stop waiting on a helicopter to bring something to drop on top of me and gonna change my life. I have to make the change from within me. I have to do the work. I have to do the steps. So my biggest God that I had was just another person teaching me how to do the steps, and me abandoning myself to that person and take instructions on how to live, because I didn't know how to live. I had to have another human being show me how to live. So that was my God, was the knowledge that the human being that had more clean time than me was showing me how to better my life. That's all the God I need. I wasn't looking at no sky no more. My sponsor, he wasn't my God, but the knowledge and the information I got was godly to me, because it brought me peace. That makes sense? Yeah. I wasn't trying to buck him. I wasn't trying to put my 2 cents in it, because by this time I had learned that my 2 cents didn't work. It didn't work. My life was broke. It said that, and that's a position that you have to be in, that you are willing now to allow this program to work for you instead of you doing it yourself. It said, we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. We had a new employer, being all powerful. He provided what we needed, not what we wanted. If I kept close to him and performed the 12 steps work well. That is his work. I believe, this is just me, I want to give it my experience, that the 12 steps were spiritual steps given to alcoholics and addicts to change their life. I believe that they were spiritual. That's what y'all told me. I had never tried a spiritual path. I had tried religious paths with no avail for me. But I saw other people being able to have decent lives that were the members of the church. By my illness, I wasn't able to do it. Because I believe you can pray all day, get oil on you, tithe, everything. I thought all that was going to work, and I can sip me a bit. I didn't know that I had a phenomenal craving. I didn't know that my body was allergic to alcohol and drugs. I didn't know it. The pastor didn't know it. The deacon didn't know it. My mama and cousin didn't know it. Nobody knew it. They were wondering why I was gone. And then I was questioning my own sanity. I did not know until I came in the room that I had an illness. I didn't know that. So all the praying and everything I did was of no avail once I did this. And a person like me wasn't dedicated to a whole sermon without thinking, what time is it over? So I can go get me one. My prayers were fast. My tithing was low. And it's time to go. That was me. So I wasn't dedicated. I started working with other folks. It didn't work for me. Because I had full-blown addiction. And I was trying to pray my way out of it and drink. Don't work. You can stop drinking and then pray your way out. I was doing it backwards. Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves. Once I started doing this 12-step work, I started changing, making changes. I cared about people again. Remember, I come from a life of total homelessness and total hopelessness. I didn't care about nobody but myself. Then once I started coming to meetings and stuff, I started, being regenerated, re-energized. You know, like that little battery with the, beating the drum, bass drum. I became re-energized, energized. I started caring and being concerned about other people. I go to work, and I think it was Ken. Remember I gave you a coat. He told me I gave him a coat. I don't even remember. But years ago, I went to Goodwill, and he said I heard him say he needed a coat in a meeting. I brought him a coat for 99 cents, but it was a good one. I put the 99-cent tag on it. It's probably $10.99. They ain't pay me but $4, so an hour, so I probably 99 cents on it. You know what I'm saying? And I heard other people saying, and I was working at Goodwill, people were saying like, yo, I just got an apartment, I don't have no furniture. What y'all got? I said, call them up, you know what I'm saying? I got this sofa for you. You got to come and get it. I got this. I got to start getting concerned about other people. That made me feel good. I hadn't had that in years. I'm trying to take from you. Yeah. Now we're giving back, all right? Then our little plans and designs. It says, established on certain footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves and our little plan and our design. More and more we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. As I started doing this more and more and sharing more and more, doing service work in the meetings, that made me really feel good. Getting the coffee up, I think for 3 years straight. Me and Ken would go and get donuts from Krispy Kreme. Used to give us donuts. I'm talking about dozens, 50, 60 dozens of donuts. And we had a meeting on Peachtree Street called a Cup. And we would go and open up the cup and feed the homeless donuts and have an AA meeting. There'd be hundreds of people in there. And I would be walking downtown or something like that. The homeless people didn't know my name. But they would say, they go the cup man. The cup man. That made me feel alive. You know what I'm trying to say? Somebody was paying attention to me. I don't care what homeless people. They were paying attention to me. I started wanting to give back. I did not know about donuts though. What were you in your car, woman? 250 dozens. Yeah, 250 dozens every Saturday. Summertime. This could be a song. Summertime with 250 glazing hot donuts with the syrup running out the boxes on your seats and cars, and our vehicle became fly bills. The flies are all around. Bees. You go to open my trunk of my car, bees be all over it. They were eating that sugar. That's how much we had so much donut in there that the flies and the bees were making our cars they home. But we were helping folks. Alright? Then we told her, look, we don't need no more donuts. And we changed to something else, this donut ain't working. You know what I'm saying? We had to wash cars and pressure wash them. You know? As we felt new power flow in, this is real. That's what I'm trying to do, bring it real to you. This ain't words in a book no more. This is me. It's me. You can't read the words on the book and just let them stay on the pages in the book. You got to bring this thing alive. It got to become you. As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, we discovered we could face life successfully as we became conscious of its presence. We began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or the hereafter. We were reborn. Let's talk about this reborn stuff. I can honestly tell y'all that I was scared to tell somebody I felt like I was reborn. I thought that privilege was given to saints and bishops, and you know, that's where I was kind of taught that you had to be so religious to be reborn. Wrong. Every last one of us is reborn now. If you got a different attitude and don't want to use no more and want to help somebody, and you know where you was last year, the year before last, you are reborn. That just means re-energized. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not a special privilege for special people on a pedestal. It's not that. And I was afraid to tell somebody I felt like anybody else was like that?
Yeah.
I felt like, I didn't want to tell nobody I felt like I was reborn, because I thought you had to be on some up high in the church to be reborn. No. We all are reborn. And you know it. And that's just the way it is. You can take that fear, whatever it was, and throw it out the window. Reborn, man, you reborn when I start having a purpose in life. I start seeing life differently. I start going to seminars, you know what I'm trying to say? Passing out flyers. Going and picking up chicken for the home group's anniversary. People asking me to speak at meetings and birthdays and chair this meeting and chair that meeting. I start having a purpose. That's reborn. They're not sitting in a soup line on a park bench, nodding and half drunk. I'm not that person no more. I have been reborn. And if anybody tell you different, you tell them they need to go get reborn. My whole life had a purpose. Tell you something else to make you be reborn. My belief system started to change. I start believing other stuff, and that's hard. Stuff that people had taught me since I was a kid, I had to abandon, push aside. It wasn't working. Some of my character defects wasn't working no more. I had to change them. Does that make sense? I had to change the way I was brought up and the teachings and this and that. And that's hard. Somebody carries some kind of belief that God's going to doom you and send you to hell and all that for eternity. I believe that. And then I came up in here And a guy was sharing early in my recovery. He said, if he gonna send me to hell, I already been there. I said, you know what? I've been there too. See, go down in some of them shelters that I used to sleep in and smell the stench. It's so thick that once you walk through it and you go outside, it's on you. That's hell. I mean, you ain't talking about sleeping and just walk through it and go outside in the fresh air and you smell like it. Live around a fire barrel so long that you smell like soot. That's hell to me. So if you're going to send me there, we can just squash that now. I done been there. And it ain't going back. How's that? You go back. Whoever you're going to send, you better send him because I ain't going back with you. So I had to get new belief systems. You know? Now I do the third step prayer.
We are now at step 3. Many of us said to our Maker as we understood him, God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and do with me as thou wilt. Relive me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. We thought, well, before taking this step, making sure we were ready, that we could at last abandon ourselves utterly to him.
All right, here's the deal. This third step prayer, everybody go home tonight and do it yourself. This is something. Get on your knees and read this prayer and then redo it in your own words. I'm not here to give you the prayer. This is a guide prayer. That makes sense? But it has to be felt from your heart. I'm just going to look over a few things about it. But it's something that we must do. Right? Made a decision to turn our will, which is our thinking, and our lives, our behavior, over to the care of God as we understood them. So step 3 is a prayer. That's all you have to do for step 3 is to pray. Now got it? Alright. Now we're at step 3. Many of us said to our Maker as we understood him. Remember, this is your own understanding of God. If it's just the rooms, or if it's just keep me clean and sober today, that's okay. God don't have no ego. If you want to call him Allah, if you want to call him Jehovah, if you want to call him my personal Jesus Christ and Lord Savior, it's okay. God has no ego. God's in every last one of us. As long as you know it ain't you. Right? So to build with me, to build with me, and to do with me as thou wilt. Will, right? Free me from the bondage of self. All this stuff that I had got me to this point, to this prayer, that did not work, I need to get rid of this stuff, and I need your help to do it. That I may better do your will. Take away my difficulty. Right now, we don't know what we're asking God to take away of. But by the time you finish this 4th step and the 5th step, you're going to identify them. You will know what they are. Right now, they're just difficulty. Some of them glaring and big, though. You know what they are. That victory over them may bear witness to those I never could do this one good. Take away my difficulty, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. So what the prayer is saying is, I got these problems that I need to overcome, so I can turn around and help someone else overcome them. That makes sense? That's what we're trying to do. So it seems like to me, it took away this embarrassment and this shame that I had, because I had to go through everything now to be reborn, to show someone else how to come up out of their situation. So that made my bad spots a little bit less bad. Because now I can help someone else come through the same problem. Alright? May I do your will, thy will always. we thought well before taking this step, making sure we were ready, that we could at last abandon. That's the word I wanted to get to. Abandon means to give up, surrender, or withdraw from. Now they did it backwards. Kind of backwards the way I use it. I don't know about nobody else. When I think of abandoning something, we're talking about like abandoning ship. He's on the ship and you just left it. Right? If you got a hoopty and you driving down the street and it break down, you abandoned it. You don't care who pick it up. You know, you don't care if you get any more tickets. You don't care if somebody stole the parts. You don't care about nothing about that car. It's over. Abandon it. And you walk away to another situation. Go get another car, probably a better car than that one. So you walk away from that, so you abandon it. All right? So what they're saying here is that abandon ourselves utterly to Him. So what they, to me, now I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Well, it's kind of telling me a little bit like, okay, like this old self, my old way of thinking, my behavior, and my life, I need to leave that like a hoopty on the side of the road. Leave that like a hoopty on the side of the road. Don't care who do what, when, where, and how, and rejoin this power that's greater than me to take me forward. Is that what they're talking about? Kind of like a snake, and they shed the skin. The old skin stay there, so the new stay. But you don't want to be the snake because it still got the same behavior. You know? But you want to abandon, you want to leave all this old crappy way of living behind and step out reborn. And if you're reborn, that means you have to start, like we talked about last week, as a baby. A baby. Like a little baby in a manger, wrapped in clothing. You can't come in this spiritual life full grown. You got to be breastfed. Then you got to be grow up and crawl. Then you got to walk. Then after you walk, you might run. Then you got to be potty trained. Then you got to be a little toddler, and then a teenager. You know, you got to grow. So we're not spiritual giants when we first start this journey. It's a spiritual journey. Kind of remind me of Jesus, starting as a baby and growing up. That's what they're talking about. So, read the next one.
We found it very desirable to take this spiritual step with an understanding person, such as our wife, best friend, or spiritual advisor. But it is better to meet God alone than with one who might misunderstand. The wording was, of course, quite optional, so long as we expressed the idea, voicing it without reservation. This was only a beginning, though if honestly and humbly made, an effect, sometimes a very great one, was felt at once.
Me, myself, personally, I ain't do this with nobody. I wouldn't even think about nobody. I ain't know nobody to do it with. But they tell you can do it with an understanding person, your wife, husband, best friend, or spiritual advisor. That's a choice you got to make. But make sure they understand what you're doing. If you go outside these rooms, I'm pretty sure they're not going to understand what you're doing. Alright? But if it's only a beginning, though, if honestly and humbly made an effect, sometimes a great one will fill that one. When I just abandoned myself, like the hoopty on the side of the road, and made a decision to turn my will and my thinking over the care of God, I felt that right here. But that's just a beginning. In fact, you ain't done much of nothing when you don't do that. Next,
we launched on a course of vigorous action, the first step of which is a personal house cleaning, which many of us had never attempted. Though our decision was vital And the crucial step, it could have little permanent effect unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to face and to be rid of the things in ourselves which have been blocking us. Our liquor was but a symptom, so we had to get down to the causes and conditions.
All right, here's the deal. Once you do the third step, prayer, the next thing you do is you start your fourth step. Y'all got that? Got that, Erica? You got that? When you do that prayer tonight, the next thing you do is pick up that paper and start your fourth step. Don't wait till tomorrow. Alright? Next, we launch on the course of forceful, full of action. The first step of which is a personal house cleaning. The personal house cleaning are step 4 through 9. Or is it 4 through 7? 4 through 9. 4 through 9. 4 through 9. You got to clean your own house, which is your mind. We ain't talking about go take a bath. You got to clean your mind. You can't do a fourth step and still want to be a grasshopper. You got to grow. You got to grow. Alright, step 4 through 9 is the house cleaning steps, which many of us had never taken or attempt. So we're talking about not just many of us, we're talking about many people on earth. Though our decision was a vital, that means life supporting, necessary for life, like the vital organs, brain, heart, lungs, whatever, and crucial step, it had little permanent effect unless at once followed by strenuous effort to face and to be rid of the things in ourselves which has been blocking us from God. There's stuff in us that blocks us from God. There's energy in us that don't flow, just sits and stagnates in us that blocks us from God. Alright? Our liquor was but a symptom, so we had to get down to causes and conditions. We talked about the root of the problem last week. We got to get to the root. There's stuff in us that so contaminated us that we drink and drug. Well, that was the symptom. You got to get down to the root, under the ground. Pull them roots up out the ground and them weeds. Pull them up out so you can be free. That makes sense? Therefore,
we started upon a personal inventory. This was step 4. A business which takes no regular inventory usually goes broke. Taking a commercial inventory is a fact-finding and a fact-facing process. It is an effort to discover the truth about the stock in trade. One objective is to disclose damaged or unusual goods, to get rid of them promptly and without regret. If the owner of the business is to be successful, he cannot fool himself about values.
Therefore, we started up on a personal inventory. An inventory is a written list. You can't do a mental inventory. It has to be put on paper. If I was going to do an inventory of the clothes that the people have on the front row right here, I'll start with Wayne. He got on a white shirt and some jeans, and then James and Debbie, and then keep on going. I'm doing a mental inventory. By the time I got over here, y'all asked me what Wayne got on, I can't tell you. Wouldn't even know.
That's right.
So yeah, if I wrote it down, I can look at my paper and tell you what Wayne had on. The inventory has to be written. There is no mental inventory. All right. Then it goes on to say this was step 4. And then they're going to give it some example. A business which takes no regular inventory usually go broke. Taking a commercial inventory is a fact-finding, that's a searching, and a fact-facing, that's a fearless process. It is an effort to discover the truth about the stock in trade. One object is to disclose damaged or unusable goods, to get rid of them promptly without regret. If the owner of the business is to be successful, he cannot fool himself about values. I know for myself, because I have been in business a long time. In the thrift store inventory, if I or anyone that got this type of business do not flip the inventory, you're not going to make any money. People do not like to come into the stores and see the same items over and over and over. You will quickly gain a reputation that don't go over there and step up. They got the same stuff for 6 months. You have to flip the inventory. We so good, we flip it daily, hourly. You go and come in the morning, go eat breakfast, come back, it's a whole new game. Because I learned it right here in the book. If I was selling kids tennis shoes or some old shoes like that, and you had this business next door to me, and you selling Air Force Ones and Jordans and stuff that everybody wearing today, and I'm sitting there looking at you thinking mine gonna change, I'm gonna go broke.
Yes, sir.
My inventory is not right. That makes sense? So the point is, you have to be able to take this damaged and unusable goods and get rid of it without regret. Sometimes we sell everything in here 50 cents. People, why'd you do that? Because we got this ship change inventory. Some of the people will say, well, let that stay at $5. No, I got to let it go, 50 cents. It got to go. I can't have no regrets because I got to clean it out so some new can come in. Now that's about a business. Now they're going to teach us how to do that with our own minds. I'm going to go ahead and do it.
We did exactly the same thing with our lives. We took stock honestly. First, we searched out flaws in our makeup which caused our failure. Being convinced that self, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us, we considered it common manifestations.
All right. We did exactly the same thing with our lives. We took stock honestly. First, we searched out the flaws in our makeup which has caused our failure. Being convinced that self, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us. We considered its common manifestation. Remember when I told y'all that if you think like grasshoppers, you're going to think other people think like grasshoppers? And what manifested in their lives was grasshoppers all the way through the tribes. They all thought that they were going to be defeated because their own makeup created that manifestation. That's deep, ain't it? All my defects, all my sick thinking, what I said, my meaningless thoughts created my meaningless world. All my garbage thinking, all my garbage behavior got me a seat in AA. It wasn't because I was brilliant. All the education people get, all the money they make, earn them a seat in here. It came from them. It came from up out of them. So we can change what comes from up out of us. We can create a new life. Change your thinking, change your life. All right? Being convinced that self, our own thinking, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us. It was our own thinking. It wasn't what people did to me. Because people are me pushed out. Every time somebody did something to me, it was Robert pushed out. I'm going to do it now. Resentment is the #1 offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. From it stem all forms of spiritual disease. For we had not only been mentally and physically ill, we had been spiritually sick. When the spiritual malady, disease is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. In dealing with resentments, we set them on paper. That's okay, go ahead.